Folks, a very good morning and welcome to our broadcast. It is Monday, the 22nd day of January already. Wherever you're coming in from, folks, share the live and smash that emoji button, folks. Rock and come in, folks, as the cups, the coffee mugs are rocking and coming in. Good to have each and every one of you with us. And I want to thank the beautiful Orwin Dawn for this. Orwin got to outdo everybody. Naomi Drucker, we got a message for you, girl. Thank you so much, Orwin Don, and all the other folks who make us comfortable around this end. Good to have each and every one of you on the live this morning. What are you guys having as we start the day today? What are you guys having, folks? Folks, it's a full day at our end. It's a packed day. The debates on budget 2024, they start today. The debate starts today, folks, and we hope that you guys are going to be locked in, fired up, and ready to go. We got quite a few of our colleagues who are going to be taking the stage this morning, who's going to be in the well of the National Assembly, Jorita Finance, MP Jorita Finance, MP Dionarayan Ramsurup, Ricky Ramsurup, MP Ramsurup. It's going to be on today, MP Ronald Cox. We have also, MP Ganesh Mahi Paul is going to be speaking today as well. And also you have the MP, one and only Royce Ford. He's going to be speaking as well. Christopher Jones, MP Christopher Jones is going to be speaking today as well. A number of our members of parliament, and we are looking forward to hearing from each and every one of them. Savannah Page and Glenford Gordon and all the other folks who are joining us this morning. We are very happy that you folks are here with us. And, over the weekend, we saw our members of parliament given a dry run, as it were. That seems like it's going to be my phrase this morning. As it were, given a dry run as to what, we can look forward to hearing them make the arguments this week. As I said, starting this morning's debate would be Royce Ford, and then you have Jorita who's going to be following after the PPP speaker, and then you have MP Ronald Cox. Ganesh is going to be there too. MP Coretta McDonald is going to be there too. And as I said, MP Ricky Ramsurup. MP Ricky Ramsurup is going to be speaking as well. And then we have, I think, closing off today, we'll have the Chief Whip himself, the Parliamentary Opposition Chief Whip, Christopher Jones, is going to be speaking today as well. So a lot of folks up to bat today, folks. And as I said, over the weekend, we had a number of our MPs on the stump on budget 2024. On budget 2020, making the arguments. This is not a budget that caters any which way for the people of this country. It's not a budget that caters for the people of this country at all. Especially public servants, especially the poor. That has been our contention. It's not a budget that focuses on the poor, not a budget that focuses on public servants. And who needed the most? Right? Who needed the most? I see some, let me make sure that you guys can hear us clearly. Yeah, who needs it the most, folks? Who needs it the most? So, as I said, we saw a number of our MPs on that rally on Saturday, the high cost of living, rally against the high cost of living, making the arguments. And one of those persons was the Leader of the Alliance for Change, Member of Parliament and Shadow Minister for the Ministry of Public Security, Kemrat Ramjitan. And one of the points he made on Saturday is that Jack Dio and the PP never liked public servants. Never liked public servants. Take a look. Take a listen to what Kemran said.
Brothers and sisters, I want to give you a statistic, and you will understand what I'm talking about. It is a statistic that deals with the inequalities that we got in this country. We got about 54,000 public servants. We got about 40,000 pensioners. And whosoever disabled and all of that, it comes up to about 100,000 people And all the emoluments under this budget for that 100,000 people come up $121 billion. $121 billion. And Jagdeo and Ashley does not want to have that shifted upwards. Public servants come from a certain demographic, and you know what I'm talking about there. But look at capital expenditure. Capital expenditure is $666 billion. That money will go to a set of contractors, and we only get about 1,000 contractors who win contracts in a big way in Guyana. 1,000! And you know, they come from a certain demographic too. And you know what I'm talking about. A contractor generally, and I have spoken to so many of them, a contractor makes about 20% profit on every deal. Now, what is 20% of $668 billion? You know what it is? It is $133 billion. So 1,000 people of a certain demographic will get $133 billion, and 100,000 of the rest will get $121 billion. Isn't that thievery? Isn't that discrimination? Isn't that a new Jim Crow, as it were? It is. It is wickedness. Jagdeo never liked public servants. He can talk good to the soldier boys today, but he never liked public servants. Brothers and sisters, I want to give you a statistic. And
so welcome back. That's what the one and only Kemraj Ramadan said there in that rally against the high cost of living. You know, Kemraj has a special way, has a very special way that only he, can put these things, only he can put them in his own, in his very own unique way. And who else we heard from over the last weekend? MP Judith Fernandez was also on this stump. And I love the fact that our members of parliament, our politicians were out there stumping over the weekend, sharpening the arguments for this debate during the course of the week. Starts today, runs the entire week, and the next week we go into the scrutiny of the estimates themselves, more in detail. Folks, you need to strap yourselves in for the next week, the next 2 weeks. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. And, NIS has been a big talk. This budget, the very minimal marginal increase that pensioners have had. And, we saw MP Judith Finance, your shadow finance minister, saying it's trying to kill out the poor people in this country. It's trying to kill out the poor people in this country. Take a listen what she had to say over the weekend.
I have listened to persons in the PPP come and tell you, try to justify their spending on certain infrastructure. And you know what they're saying? They're saying, guess what? If we are to build a road in front of your house and nice up the place, then your house value can go up, and then you could go to the bank and get a loan of a higher value. It doesn't matter how much road you build. If you own a house or if you are unemployed, you can't go to the bank and get a loan like that. That is not for the most vulnerable in society. That is not for the poor people. And Guyana has the majority of people living in poverty. And I don't care what they come and say about the numbers. Those are the facts. That is what we are seeing out there.
Yeah. You're going to hear so much more of that during the course of the week, folks, during the course of the day. They're trying to tell you what? You set up your house in front by you and so on, you can get big loan and stuff from the bank. They fix the road. The same folks who used to tell us, you can't eat roads. The very same folks who used to tell us you can't eat roads. So as I said there, the issue of pensions came up over the weekend, and we had also the advisor to the leader of the opposition on all things economic, and Elson Lowe was making the point there too on the very, very low pension we've had for our public servants, our past public servants. Very, very low pension. Take a look. Take a listen to what he said.
You mean to tell me you want to throw a $1.1 trillion budget and give pensioners $100 more per day? No. You know you're not going back in. So you're putting aside money to steal as much as you can steal. That's what's going on. Folks, we've had a lot of talk about GDP per capita adjusting for prices. Here's the long and short of it. Guyana is the 10th richest country in the entire world.
Yeah. So that was the advisor on economics on the pension issue. The pension, Glenford Gordon, on the pension issue, Naomi Druck and all you other folks, Lennox and Marcia. Forgive us if the audio was a little low at some parts there. But those were some of the arguments being made over the weekend, and we're going to circle back to some of that during the course of our broadcast this morning. But welcome to FYI, just bringing some of you up to speed with some of the things that has happened over the weekend. One of the things we want you guys to know this morning, of the 15 things we think you ought to know about as you started day to day, we lost Denise Paul in an accident at the BV, Bedford Acting public road. These accidents are going up and up and up and up all the time. And this is something that we definitely, we got to watch. And we're told just this morning, am I correct? Late last evening, rather, Sunday night as well, in addition to us losing Dennis Paul, we also lost a motorcyclist, Kwesi Griffith, who died in an accident at Liliendal. Said he breached the traffic light and ended up in an accident with a motor car. That's what's happening on our roads, folks. And we did see carnage on our roads and waterways, worksite accidents. We got so much work to do, folks. We got so much work to do. And that's only a couple of the things, folks. As we start this morning, Dennis Paul over the weekend, Kwesi Griffith last evening as well. We gotta bring this down. Bring this down in a big way. And remember that accident outside of the Rhymeville police station, close proximity to the Rhymeville police station. We lost a husband and the wife. Well, a third victim succumbed over the weekend as well. Folks, there's a lot. There's a lot happening out there. A great many things. So that accident outside of the Rhymeville police station as the year started alone claimed 3 victims. Folks, you think you understand what's going down in this country? Yeah. You think you understand? Those of you who are people of faith, you got to pray for this country. Because some things, policies and so on, might not be able to fix. And then, boy, I would love to say they're in touch with a higher power. But I think it's the same higher power that I'm in touch with. Right? They're in touch with a different power. So we've seen several accidents, several lives lost already. And we're the second day in. And as I said, this is Priam Sicharan, called Romel, succumbed to his injuries due to that accident that occurred outside the Rhymeville police station on January 8th. In that accident, we also lost Sarah Wilson and her husband, Ron McKenzie. Folks, a lot going on out there. Look what else we're following this morning. Internationally, you all remember the Duchess of York, better known as Fergie. Well, she's had a terrible time with cancer. She was undergoing breast reconstruction surgery after having breast cancer. And the dermatologist was very concerned about a mole that he saw. And further investigations now reveal that Fergie could have skin cancer as well. And so the Duchess of York says that she's taking some time for herself after this skin cancer diagnosis. You know, you need some time for yourself, and that's one of the things we say when we sign off on the weekend. Be gentle with yourselves. You know, take time for you, time for family, time for friends, time for loved ones. Please and thank you. Well, the Duchess of York says she's taking some time for herself. Third thing we think you ought to know about. Fourthly, folks, how did 40 pounds of cocaine get past the Cherry Jagan International Airport? 40 pounds of cocaine being muled by Zachary Scott, 22 years old. 22 years old. The folks at the John Fitzgerald Kennedy International Airport in Queens nabbed Zachary. He was carrying, they said he was carrying 2 suitcases laden with shellfish and narcotics when the agents did a random check of his bags. And he was traveling on American Airlines, 40 pounds of cocaine and shrimp, desecrating shrimp. And I'm certain that the authorities were very suspect when they saw somebody ferrying shrimp out of Guyana, knowing how tight things are here. That probably was the tip-off. Knowing that if anything, people are going to be bringing shrimp inside. Randy Cole, Marcy Agard, but ferrying shrimp out. Vashti Magnat, I'm certain, very, very suspect of that. Shelley Deville, how did 40 pounds of cocaine get past the folks here at Cherry Jagan International? That needs a major investigation. Don't let's try to skip past that. Margaret, Everett, Shelley, don't let us try to skip past that. And as I remember on the cancer bit with the Duchess of York, Fergie, early detection, we say all the time, especially during Cancer Awareness Month in October. Early detection is key in both men and women. Early detection is key. And that goes for drugs too at Cherry Jagan International. Early detection is key. Now look how we got to embarrass myself. It took the folks at Cherry Jagan, it's not an ounce. It's not 3 grams, 40 pounds of cocaine. Talking nice in shrimp. How did 40 pounds of cocaine get through Cherry Jagan International? Right? What? Did folks say they want to dirty their hands with shrimp? You know, shrimps is a fine one. I saw the looking thing behind us there. This is the fat course of shrimp. You got to do it justice. The little fine one that is curled up, so that's the shrimps. But those fat, coarse, thick ones, 40 pounds of cocaine. Heads out of roll at Kanu. Heads out of roll at CJIA. I won't pretend that didn't happen. 40 pounds? Jesus have mercy. You got a man trying to carry out, a woman, I think it was somebody, a little teaspoon of milk powder, and that raised eyebrows. A little container of milk powder, 40 pounds of cocaine, got past us, Lester Thought. Lester, you believe that? Lettel Prack, you believe that? Rastaman, and it Cummins, Magnan Barrow, you believe that? 40 pounds? My God. As we at JFK, as we in the US, you know the one DeSantis endorsed Trump. He dropped out. But I don't know who's worse, honest to God. Trump, DeSantis, Trump, DeSantis, Trump. It's a toss-up. I say good riddance. I say good riddance. I'm looking for the day when you can say good riddance to other people as well. Good riddance. He didn't have what it takes. Don't let's fool ourselves. He did not have what it takes. Pandered too much to Trump and Trump base. Didn't have a course, a set course. So glad he's gone. Last year they told us, or they're telling us, now murders went up 21.4% in Guyana. 21.4%. You know, when this current administration came into power, they promised a crime prevention plan. And they often tout by what numbers serious crimes have gone down by. How are we doing with the murders, folks? How are we doing with the murders? Please and thank you. How is that going for us? Right? Not too nice, clearly. It's not going too well at all. And we got to get a grapple on this. I think we ought to put somebody in there who actually understands what they're doing. Right? Somebody in there who actually has an inkling of what they're doing, because I'm not so certain that that person is, as a matter of fact, I'm absolutely certain the person is not Ropes and Ben. Right? And we got to get a handle on it. We got to get a handle on it. And one of those things that's causing a lot of stress, a lot of struggles with us is the proliferation of gun violence. It is so many aspects of this crime situation causing us angst. And you got Ropes and just going along merrily. 2 for $1. Lethargy's poster child. 2 for $1, going along. We got to do so much more on this front, folks. Right? We got to do so much more on this front. And I think it was Kemraj Ramjadan who over the weekend was responding to Ben's comment on guns. Fling it over the fence. Fling the gun over the fence. Wow, what a beauty. Robeson, what a beauty. Take a look and take a listen to what Kemraj said.
I want to start with a little comment made by Minister of Home Affairs yesterday, or the day before yesterday, that all of them people that got illegal guns, as a matter of policy, you must throw them inside the police station. You ever hear madness? Well, those are the policy makers in Guyana today. Go and throw them inside a police station. And you know, when I was public security minister, we granted an amnesty so that you could come in the police station and you can't be prosecuted when you hand it over. You know, that made lots more sense, and as a matter of fact, it brought in hundreds of illegal firearms. But this policy that is so bent, coming from a man named Ben, you're never going to get one of them ever going into any police station. And so you'll have more of them out in the public to cause the destruction and the crime and the brutality that we see all across this land.
So there was a comment made by Kemraj over the weekend at that rally against the high cost of living. It was held at the Burnham Court there in Georgetown. And we're going to unpack so much more from that in the programs ahead of us. Maybe in the minutes ahead of us too. So that was a pitch you got over the fence, man. Pitch you got over the fence. We love what's happening in some of our CARICOM countries. The development happening, and Dominica says that they're about to put in a thermal plant. Right? Moving ahead, this is current Energy Minister Vince Adams. Dr. Vince Henderson. He says the government is ready to begin the construction of a 10 kilowatt geothermal power plant. People moving ahead. With the little they have, you can do much. We got much, but doing little. That's the irony. The government said it has invested 50 million US dollars so far in geothermal research. We don't like studies and so on. Research. When them so, if the vice president had done some basic research, he wouldn't be talking the things he's talking about the University of Guyana. Some basic research, but they like studies and research and so on. No, that's not their forte. Not their forte at all. Y'all realize how much people in the side hustle now? 40 pounds of cocaine. This fella had $20 million worth in marijuana. That's he hustle. Well, he's been fined. Lakshman Sankar for the what? 49.6 million for his trafficking of 20 million worth. Yeah. Lakshman Sankar. Oh, yeah, I think it's only people with their hair notch up. That's a stereotype. Smoking marijuana. Who do you think land to plant $20 million worth in marijuana? Who planting all them fields in the Berbice River? St. Cuthbert Mission. Who planting all of that? I think it's Rasta people. You better wake up. Sugar dung, rice dung, gold dung, bauxite dung. People turn into cash crops. Other cash crops. People are turning to other cash crops. Right. Y'all see what inflation doing in this country? Budget of sand and stones. According to Cameron, y'all see what inflation doing to people in this country? Please and thank you. Pumpkin inflation. I think that analogy is the best one so far. You catch it right away. Here's MP Finance on the stump over the weekend, and that same issue of inflation.
Let me put it like this. Pumpkin can go from $100 to $1,000, and then they come and tell you it's 2% inflation rate. It ain't making sense. They must not be allowed to tell us this. The PP administration has been playing with the numbers because that's what they're good at. This is the dark ways of the administration. Ashley Singh and Byron Jack Beyond, the likes of them, would come to you and give you all sorts of justification, trying to magically convince you that this thing makes sense. It doesn't make sense. Does it make sense? 2% makes sense? It's not so. You know it. You go to the market. It does not make sense. Let me put it.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. And we say, things might be tight, very tight at this point. Very tight at this point. But if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Don't do the crime, Lakshman Sankar. So he's been given a 4-year jail sentence and $49.6 million in fine. His part in trying to traffic $20 million worth. Things rough in this country. Things extremely rough in this country. You could imagine a big budget like we have, and we still got things like blackout fretting us. Blackout still fretting us. Listen to what Elson Lowe said over the weekend at that rally against high cost of living on blackout. Still will be $1.146 trillion budget. Blackout still beating us.
There's something we got to touch on that I think illustrates what we're facing right now in Guyana. If you have had blackout in the last 3 months, raise your hand. If you have had blackout in the last 2 months, raise your hand. If you have had blackout in the last month, raise your hand. And I had blackout this week, so I got to raise my hand. Folks, Folks, you know, I can't name it person, but you know that one person PP had the audacity to tell me that the generators they're using these generators, they got under jetty. No wonder you get a blackout all the time. Folks, they spent last year as much as 5 years worth of spending. And the blackouts are increasing. Folks, you know what that means? They know they're coming out of office. They know. And they put in every last dime to where they can steal it. They know. We just have to make sure that that is exactly what happens.
Yeah. There you have it. We got to ensure, you got to ensure if you want a better government, better living standards, you got to do better. We want better. We got to do better, folks. It's not getting any better in this country as we continue to interrogate budget 2024. I'm still looking for good comment on this budget. So, Rabble Rouser, Joel Bagwandin, you know, I did again saying how Raman McCray in his review and their assessment, their own interrogation of budget 2024, they're wrong. 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 Things really tight in this country, folks. Even though folks like Onij want to run out here and saying that, what? Onij Waldron, the Minister of Tourism, right? Friends, family, and favorites. So she can say, government remains people-centered. That's what she sees in budget 2024. That her government remains people-centered, me family-centered, friend-centered, favorite-centered, cost of living, racking people in this country. I'm looking for some good comments outside of PV ministers on budget 2024. You can't find it. Glenford Gordon, Margaret Nelson, Sabrina Blue, can't find those comments. Alexis Williams, as hard as you try. Here again was Elson Lowe talking about how this is an anti-Guyanese budget. When all things are said and done, you get the chance to rationalize it. You know, you come away from all the fluff and bluff. It's a very anti-Guyanese budget. Listen to the young economists make the arguments on that rally against the high cost of living at the Burnham Court over the weekend.
When it comes to actually doing something to deal with the cost of living, can you imagine that these folks put aside $5 billion last year for direct cost of living mitigation? Put it aside. And after 11 months into the year, they still couldn't figure out what to do with this money. It either means they didn't care about the cost of living crisis, or they had no idea what to do. We're going to give them some ideas as to how they need to address it tomorrow. We have said they need to provide vouchers to canter operators to bring down the cost of bringing goods to market. You need to develop regional agriculture so you don't have to be moving goods across Guyana, incurring a cost again. We have said small businesses need grants. We have said that we need to support these small businesses. We've said public servants need to see an increase in pay. Now I want to point something else to you as we talk about public servant pay. I said last year they were supposed to come with something like 30%. If you spend as much as the coalition spent in 5 years and you're not coming with 77% this year, it's a story. It's a story. Goodness me. Here's someone in the audience they know they're going out. Folks, we also are saying that we've reached a stage where we need for low-income people to be providing free electricity and water. Free electricity and water. Why are we getting $40 billion more in tax revenue, but poor people got to pay for electricity and water? What is the point in that? Folks, let's call this budget for what it is. This budget is the budget you put out if you know you're not going back in. This budget is anti-Guyanese.
Yeah. Hard times budget, folks. Hard times, but more for the boys. But where are the things for you, Beryl Crawford, Leslie Hamilton, Glenford Gordon, Michelle Garrett, Wanda Hudson, Edward Brooms? Where are the things for you, Orwin Dunn? Thanks for the cup, Orwin. Orwin, no, I'm getting old and forgetful. She put my name on it, so I remembers me cup. Pick up the right one. A lot of things happening, folks. Zurita, as we said, was on the stump over the weekend too with Elson and Kemraj and all the other members of parliament and other folks. And made the point on wages and salaries as well. You know, we started out this broadcast by talking about Kemraj's impression that Jack, you never liked public servants. And when he had a chance to increase salary significantly, still went for a low number. All right, we never had plenty then. But here we are in a time of bounty. A great harvest. And still, here the shadow finance minister, it's really finance, make the arguments over the weekend.
Budget under the coalition totaled $1.2 trillion. 5 budgets. This is the 5th budget for the PPP. This budget, the 2024 budget, is $1.1 trillion. So the spending for this year alone, total, all 5 the budgets of the coalition. But let me tell you about the wages and salaries now. The wages and salaries that the coalition increased, we increased it by 7%. Guess what? We didn't have all money. We did not have that 7%. We increased it by the PPP administration. Ashley Singh boldly stood in Parliament and said, oh, well, since we came back in office, we raised the wages and salaries by 23%. Disrespectful. With oil money, you could only raise it 23%, and the coalition, without oil money, raised it 77%. It ain't making sense. That is how the PPP administration operates.
Nope, it's not making any sense at all. This sacrifice of big projects, over trying to pull down the cost of living. Last budget, last year, February, $5 billion was allocated to programs aimed to alleviate the high cost of living. Programs never got rolled out till November. This year, they raised that figure by $2 billion in a $1.146 trillion budget. $7 billion. Right? $7 billion is to the targeted initiatives to reduce the high cost of living. But take a big bridge. They said flyover bridge coming to the East Bank and East Coast. The 10th thing we think you ought to know about as you start the day today. Flyover bridge coming. In the PPP's own words, you can't eat roads. And if you can't eat roads, according to the PPP, you definitely can't eat bridges. Folks, things tough in this country. And again here, economist Elson Lowe makes the point of the budget increase. Following on Jarita's analysis there. The budget big. But it seems to be doing less for the people than it did in the past.
People that are not supporters of the coalition, but they are scared. This government is increasing the national budget by 46% and has no interest in the cost of living. Anti-Guyanese. But folks, as I said, we in the coalition, we believe in young people. The reason I'm standing here is because we believe in young people. And just as people are messaging me to say these are their concerns, we will hire thousands and thousands of Guyana's young people to help us conduct analysis, gather data. Folks, you know that right now, nobody knows the unemployment rate in Guyana. They're not gathering that information. Nobody can tell you how much wages increase. Not even in communist countries during the Cold War, you didn't get unemployment data. The only if you believe that your budgets are lowering unemployment, you're generating jobs, why would you hide the data? But if you think that you're not going back in office, what are you gonna do?
Yep, that's economist Elson Lowe on that rally against the high cost of living over the weekend at Burnham Basketball Court there in Georgetown, along with members of parliament making the arguments. And we're happy to all of you who turned out. You know, they tell us that last year over 1,700 police ranks were trained. Now we so much more. Raise the salaries in a better way for policemen and women. Too many of them. You know, I see a lot of them now on the roads, roadblock. Every 2 corners is a roadblock. And some of the policemen aren't even making an effort now. They're telling you soon as they stop you, left something in the man, don't waste time. We got some good men and women in police force, but some making it bad for others. It's only one rotten apple like Jack you need, you know. Spoil the whole thing. One rotten apple like your fun. 1,700 trade. That's a step in the right direction. A step in the right direction. See, the Maria Commission of Inquiry has released its report into that horrific fire that claimed 20 of our young people. And they're aiming to blame the personnel in the fire service, aiming to blame personnel in the education sector. But the Minister of Education, who had a report that said this dorm should have been fixed a long time ago and never did anything about it, was never called to testify. What a waste of a COI. Just like the one they had on the election inquiry. Everybody rig, according to the PPP. But Khalid was there. She's the only angel. The Commission of Inquiry into those elections never mentioned her once. Never called her own actions into question, even though by her own admissions, she had several glaring shortcomings during that process. So what stock you could put in these COIs? What stock you could put to them? Somebody working for the COI also was there giving out monies to the families. And when you take your 5 million, you can't look for anything more. Then the COI pronouncing that. The set piece is a set piece. 13th issue. Folks, $1.146 trillion is the national budget. And a teacher in Paramakatoy, a non-resident teacher, about to call it quits because the living conditions are so terrible. High-income country, fastest growing economy, biggest GDP, biggest budget, biggest bulge, biggest big head vice president. Yet, look what got happening here. A teacher can call it quits because the conditions are so deplorable. Not all that glitters is the old adage, is gold. You better take that seriously. Crystal Fisher lamented her squalid living conditions on social media the 19th of January. And before they fix the problem, you know what they can try to do? They can try to victimize Crystal, because that's how they are. They're going to try to victimize Crystal now. But you see, for friends, family, and favorites, like Statement Construction, they can't finish the Bamia Primary School. All this whole country saw it coming. We said we love you all in entertainment. We got y'all there. But this construction thing, oh, definitely professionals. No, no, no. We can do this. We've done it before. The AG says, the Auditor General, that he omitted putting this, making a report in his report on Bamia Primary School because the project is incomplete. Well, he could have said it in the report. Isn't that a report on it? We big. We big. But we get sense. AG, we big. But we get sense. Finally, every week for the last 59 weeks, Sabbath News has been doing a piece on the high cost of living in this country and how it's affecting people. Folks, without fail, I think Sabbath News interviews about 10 persons. Various parts of the country, various ethnicities, various demographics across the board, political persuasion. I have never heard one person say, I good. Things are always tight. People are always barely getting by. 3-4 jobs and still not enough to go around. In the land of plenty, people are starving. People are starving in the land of plenty. And MP Finance, Shadow Finance Minister, made the arguments over the weekend. Majority Guyanese in poverty. I tend to believe her. The majority in poverty.
I have listened to persons in the PPP come and tell you, try to justify their spending on certain infrastructure. And you know what they're saying? They're saying, guess what? If we are to build a road in front of your house and nice up the place, then your house value can go up, and then you could go to the bank and get a loan of a higher value. It doesn't matter how much road the bill. If you own a house or if you are unemployed, you can't go to the bank and get a loan like that. That is not for the most vulnerable in society. That is not for the poor people. And Guyana has the majority of people living in poverty. And I don't care what the comments say about the numbers. Those are the facts. That is what we are seeing out there. I have listened.
The facts are the facts, folks. The facts are the facts. So here, Sabbath News has been doing this column, this article every week, interviewing Guyanese across this country. What the cost of living doing to you? And folks, without fail, today's edition of cost of living and the people is quite the same. What folks are saying. Say at David, the cost of grocery items in the market every week increases. Because when my parents visited the market a week ago, the cost increased for items. And the next week, the cost for items would have increased even higher in the market. Siat said every week cost going up. Hardat Ali, a pensioner. Hardat says I receive help from a son, another relative, sometimes when purchasing food items. The salary is not enough to buy food items, cooking gas, and to pay the utility bill. I have my own kitchen garden, and I'm a part-time security guard. That Pasad is 59. Got a part-time work, family helping, got a kitchen garden, and that says it's not enough. People starving in the fastest growing economy in the world, the 10th richest country on the planet, people starving. Rajkumar Diosaran, 58, a laborer. He says the cost of all food items have increased in the market. Kerosene, flour, sugar, the cost of everything has arisen in the market. I'm a family of 4, and I'm the sole provider for my home, and my salary is not enough. That's what Rajkumar Diosaran says. It's the same for Joseph Picham, a pensioner. The cost of living affected me, Picham says. Even though I would usually receive my monthly pension, followed by my financial support, my son gifts to me in order to buy food items at home, it's still affecting me. My pension plus my son helping. The cost of living still affected me. And finally, we have here Anita Diosaran. a 51-year-old housewife. The rising cost of living, Anita says, is hard on my family. Right? But we're trying to cope with it. Electricity costs, especially, is costly. Right? She says, since last September, my home was destroyed by a fire. Now, I'm not occupying the building because it's under construction, but still, I had to pay the high electricity bill for 2 months, despite querying it with GPL. Pressure all over. Pressure bust pipe. In the Crabman Vice. Pressure bust pipe. That's what he said. And this kind of commentary, unfiltered, is what obtains week after week after week after. So don't take our word for it. This is Starbuck News doing its own independent work. In its own deliberate judgment, folks. Comrade Ramjatan, I think, puts it best when he said, this is a government of sand and stone. They're not. Despite what Onish Waldron said, people center. No. Those are the top. They're going to reap the largest. The rest of us catch with tail. Listen to Kemraj make that very point over the weekend in that rally against the high cost of living, Burnham Court here in Georgetown.
Their policies of not wanting to do the correct things, of managing the monies properly, also have behind it massive corruption for certain friends, family, favorites, and flatterers. The F word is pretty prominent there. Yes, they want to F up this country. They really want to F it up. And they're going to provoke a big percentage of the population in this country to buck it up. So let them play the fool. We have the monies there now. And a lot of people have been writing about it. The minute anybody writes about it, they have their propaganda czar, Kwame Mackay and Joel Bagwandin and all of them, Jagabat still too, talking stupidness in the press, rambling, and we starving. The 10th richest country in the world per capita is Guyana. How many of you know that? 10th richest country per capita, because our population is just 800,000. And with all that oil money we got, we are supposed to be far richer than we are right now. But this government puts its priority in sand and cement. This is a sand and cement government. Yes, everything they want. Yeah, well, I mean that in the concept. Bitumen and this and that and stone and so on. But you are not a good government until you can see with your people.
Yeah, there you have it, folks. Kemrat Ramdatan, leader of the Alliance for Change, my party of choice, and also the Shadow Minister for Home Affairs, making the arguments, sand and cement government. People starving, but we can get a nice flyover, you see. We can get fancy road and so on, and shore base and so. $1.146 trillion budget, folks. What's in it for you, Marcy Agard? Andrew Griffith, Naomi Drucker, what's in it for you? They're filling up the whole country, you heard Kemrat say. Friends, family, favorites, and flatterers. Pierre Leacock, Yolanda Thomas, Abira, Tommy Gibbs, Audrey. Folks, we're heading off to the National Assembly, where we're going to continue making the arguments. You're going to hear from us throughout the day. We got quite a lineup today, folks. I think MP Roysdale Ford, Shadow for Legal Affairs, Attorney General, is going to lead off the debates for the parliamentary opposition. Jarida is speaking today as well, and we got MP Ronald Cox is speaking too, and MP Ganesh Mahi Paul and Coretta McDonald, and we have also MP Ricky Ram Suruk speaking as well, and then Christopher Jones is going to flank the government, folks, in those arguments being made today as our final speaker for the day, Christopher Jones. So we can have it for you, folks. So tune in. We're going to share the parliamentary live stream on our pages as well. Tune in, folks. The debates begin today. It runs all week. And then next week, we go into the detailed examination of the national estimates for budget 2024. That's going to do it for us at this end. I want to thank all of you for being here this morning. Good folks. It means the world to us that Maxine is here and Kyle Bino and Beryl Crawford. Debbie Collins is here as well. I know some of y'all don't come for the show. The show being broadcasted here. Your company show in the comments. Brenda Bradford and Don Sullivan are the disruptor-in-chief, folks, according to Sabbath News. I'm heading to the National Assembly. Bureau and Claire Alexis, Charmley, Richmond. Have a fantastic day. Angela Jordan, Whitney Doris, Yolanda, Randy Cole, Edward Gonzalez, and all the other beautiful folks joining us across social media. Those of you who are watching, not commenting because you're watching your jobs as well. Good to have all of you folks. Have a fantastic week, folks. Firing up and ready to go. Stay vigilant. That's going to do it for us at this end, folks. That's our time and that's our program. Until the next one.